The horse pulled to a stop in front of the traveler, dust from the road blowing into his eyes and mouth. The traveler scowled and muttered to himself, "Unreal, twice in 2 days." The seedy-looking man stepped from the carriage, his scarred skin and ruffian's garb suggesting that he was no noble. He grinned a predatory grin. The ruffian's henchman dropped the reins and raised the crossbow from its hiding place below the yoke's lip, aiming it at the traveler. The ruffian pointed a fat finger at the traveler's greatsword. "That's too shiny a blade for a shit like you to be carrying." He tapped the saber at his belt. "Give me the sword, boy, and Genghis there won't shoot ya." The traveler stood, dumb and scowling for a moment, then dived for the rock on the side of the road. Genghis cursed and pulled the trigger, but the bolt whistled harmlessly into the trees. Drawing the greatsword from its strap and resting it against the rock, the traveler grabbed the stone in his palm and raised his head, regarding the carriage and the ruffian while his henchman reloaded. The ruffian laughed, drawing his own sword and eyeing the crouched traveler. "You're a quick one. What's your name, boy?" Peering at the ruffian from behind the rock, the traveler grinned back. "My name's Harm, because if you get in my way, I'll do you some." The ruffian was silent for a moment, then touched his chest and bellowed with laughter. But as Genghis raised his crossbow again, a stone smashed into the ruffian's face, and Harm darted out from behind the rock, greatsword held aloft. Months have passed since that moment. Harm set off on an adventure to help some lizard folk recapture their stolen child and fight some mercenaries. Unfortunately, the venture went poorly. Now Harm sits in a cell in the dark, waiting.
The tiny kobold named Corin. He was originally from Torrent, at least when he was a baby. A bit different from the kobold. He was not of the normal color, albino if you can call him. Well, from the village he was born of, let's say that the village wasn't very friendly. They like to cause trouble, pillage other small towns, etc., etc. And after a certain while, people just got sick of that kobold village and sent adventurers to destroy it. Uh, after adventurers came, and lo and behold, the village got destroyed. But somehow, Corin survived, even though he was still a baby. Uh, a few moments passed by after the adventurers had destroyed the village. Was an elf. He was quite old for even for an elf, but he wanted to go there to see if there was anyone needing help. And as he searched through the rubble of the now ruined kobold village, he saw Corin, the little kobold baby, and decided to take him under his wing. He took him to the Feywilds, where he nurtured and taught Corin all about magic and all about bardic magic specifically. And as Corin grew, he was enamored by everything and how things came to be, and he learned a lot from Garn. But he knew that if he just stayed in the Feywild with Garn forever, he was never going to learn everything. So after a while, he decided to ask Garn if he could adventure outside. And to his surprise, Garn allowed, and that was only a few months ago. Right now, he's currently wandering back in Thoron. Garn had told him about his parents, but he doesn't really care anymore, as he took it as a redemption for their whole entire village and become a better person. He may not show it, but he is actually really nice inside, but he doesn't really like showing his feelings, that he doesn't really want people to know how he really feels.
Scythar was the right hand of a Feywild monarch known as the King in Winter, and the commander of his elite cavalry. Content in his role to raid the material plane for loot and captives, he earned the trust and praise of his fickle monarch. The king decided to grant Scythar his heart's desire as a boon, ready to grant anything in his power to the general. Scythar asked for the hand of the king's daughter in marriage, a beauty he had long admired from afar. The king accepted, and they were engaged, but this brought the attention of rival suitors who poisoned the king's ear. Upon returning from his latest raid, he was stripped of his command and violently banished to the material plane, his powers, enchantments, and glamours lost to him. Now he wanders the material world as a bitter and capricious mercenary with only his martial experience to see him through the challenges that await him. One day, he may yet return to the Feywild, exact his revenge, and claim what is his. Scythar is followed into exile by his squire, Aeglir, who is himself the son of a noble family in the Winter Court. Having secured his position as Scythar's squire and aide-de-camp at the height of his influence, Aeglir has shown fierce loyalty to his master by staying on as his squire throughout his exile.
My name is Vicky, or but you can call me Vex. I'm a Sphinx Tabaxi, and I am a rogue. I was abandoned at birth and raised by my adopted father, Gurn Idru, the kobold. I grew up underground in the kobold tunnels, and there my father taught me most of what I know about being a rogue. And obviously, the best one there is. I was separated with my father at the age of 15. To this day, I don't know his fate, alive or dead. But that's what you get when you have a lot of enemies. The life I lead has no room for relationship. From that age, I lived on the streets, and that taught me more than even my father knew about the road life. My name is not known by many. According to my skill, one might think I would be infamous. But this is by design. The targets of my exploits have no idea what's coming to them, and I don't have to maintain frivolous relationships and empty friendships.
Last we left our adventure, Harm had been captured by Osros and his raiders. Priscilla had been driven from the fortress to the town of Felton, seeking help from the local lord, Count Ulrich. She negotiated a trade deal with Count Ulrich for some supplies from her noble house, and part of that exchange included the use of Count Ulrich's soldiers. Within the day, Count Ulrich had summoned a dozen or so goblin ambushers and 3 centaur cavaliers ready to join the adventurers to rescue Henrik from Osros's fortress. During their time in Felton, Priscilla had contracted a deathly illness and thus was unable to attend the adventure, but gathered a group of stalwart and brave adventurers to join her in her rescue along with the soldiers. We begin our adventure walking up to Osros's fortress as the adventurers plan out how they will assault this fortress and recover recover the stolen supplies that the raiders have taken, and seek justice for all the harm that they have done. As you approach Osros's fortress, you see a wooden gatehouse palisade before you, positioned on top of a high hill. The ground is covered with snow, powdery in nature. The wood around this area is pine and some birch and oak that have all the leaves have fallen from it. You see on top of the 2 towers of Osros's fortress 2 ballista with their bolts pointing out. The walls are manned with a few archers here and there. There are torches lit inside of the towers that hold the ballistas. In front of them lies a group of lizard folk, accompanied by lizard folk leader Rax, who greets you warmly and welcomes you back. You also see beside you the goblin ambushers and centaur cavaliers provided by Count Ulrich. As you guys approach the fortress, they turn to you and say, "Well, what is the plan? What should we do? Where is Lady Priscilla?"
Well, the kobold speaks out. Lady Priscilla isn't in the best of conditions right now. She's contacted the flu. I think.
Okay. Okay, well, as long as the plan remains unchanged, we'll follow you in.
I believe we're going to try a parlay.
Atheus turns to Vex beside him. So, what have you guys decided to do?
I believe we decided a more diplomatic approach was preferable. I think this should still be the go-ahead. I believe we have the numbers. They will not fire on us if we come. If they're any sort of gentlemen, they'll not fire on us. Especially considering that we could fire on them and ambush them at the moment. I think a couple of us should go up ahead, with the rest of the infantry staying behind
Well said.
to keep guard.
Very well.
I'll turn to my squire and ask him to create a white flag of truce.
He quickly creates a white flag of truce.
Corin just asked, well, if there is a way to get up to the ramparts. I mean, I'm not the most dexterous. I am quite dexterous, but we have a cat person there. I mean, I'm also good with communication. So I think I can do either or.
I think since the last attempted coup did not work out favorably, I think it would be best to attempt a different.
If
Yeah,
this
I
does
would
not work, we're
understand.
going to have to assault the keep.
It's true.
Scythar looked
So
at Athius.
yeah.
If negotiations fail, I suppose I could say that we will attack on the morrow to give us time to do something like that.
Good
Or
idea.
infiltrate. I'll look at Atheus and I'll look at the goblins. I'll say it appears that Count Ulrich's forces are here mainly for show and little else.
Mm.
We are not going to assault the gate with those ballistas. Now, if you can get rid of the ballistas, we'd be happy to fight. Atheus says, responds.
And Scythar would reply, I find that with these forces we've assembled, even if we had, yes, one or two of us might die, but we'd be able to disable the ballistas and take the keep. Especially if we fashioned ladders between now and an attack.
You can see him grit his teeth. Atheus says, we are not directly assaulting the gate with those ballistas that could kill our soldiers, kill my comrades in one
What are
moment.
soldiers for? Scythar looks exasperated.
May I interrupt, friends, here? We do not know each other's abilities quite yet, because we met each other maybe a few days ago. But my friend here, Vex, seems quite stealthy, and I am sure she will be confident in her abilities too. There is a clear weakness in the keep, and the only thing that's stopping her from sneaking on top of the walls is a cliff. But her stature makes me believe that she might be easily able to climb that. And there's only 4 people on top of that wall. So as long as she is hidden, she can just sneak in to the scorpions, take
Very
those
well
people
then.
out, while you do the talking outside the front gate. And if everything goes fine, which it might not, everyone might be happy.
I find that if we should use that as a plan for this evening, if talks break down, then
Yes,
we could
I
say
agree.
we're going to attack tomorrow morning, and then this evening, Vex could slide in under cover of night and give us a signal from the ramparts if the ballistas are down. We will not take our ease. We will not sleep until we see the signal, and then we can make an assault. Does that suit you, Atheus?
Oh, I'm more than.
That suits us.
Sorry.
Scythar will note to Eiglir to follow him up with the white flag.
Yep, he
And
is.
Scythar
Corin's
will
also
approach
gonna-
the
yeah.
battlements.
Corin is also gonna go. Before Corin goes, Corin, can I give myself bardic inspiration?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep,
You can do that.
I will do that. I take out my vial and softly play my vial.
Sounds good. And Scythar, you
Legit.
get inspiration there. Well, I guess you already have it. Shoot. All right.
Got it.
You would have gotten another one.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Do they stack?
As you guys approach the gate of Osros' fortress, you immediately see a young elf archer on top of the walls wave you down. Halt there, she calls out. What business do you have? Approaching our home.
We come
She's a
in
bit
peace.
nervous.
I'm speaking Sylvan, actually. We come in peace. Relatively in peace.
What is your business here?
We have come to negotiate the release of your captives and a few other sundries. We've come at the head of a company of my lord, the Count Ulrich, and we would like to negotiate with your commander.
There's a bit of a nervous bit of talking up above. And there's a quick response. We'll get our commander. Hold for a second. You guys wait a few minutes?
Yeah.
Corcus stands there looking menacing. And Osros is the one that speaks up, this half-elf. So, Count Ulrich and company. Welcome, welcome. I don't know who told you about prisoners, but I'm afraid that's simply just not the case. We have guests here that we have apprehended. Criminals, to be exact.
Well, what exactly did they do, may I ask?
They killed our
We-
men. They tried to steal from us. These are burglars. These are murderers. These are people that deserve justice. And we have sent for a representative from Orthendine to deliver that justice to those prisoners.
You're a liar. You are a bandit.
How
And
dare
we've
you
come
call
to
me a
root you-
liar?
I'm calling you a liar because you are one. You are a bandit, and we've come to root you out of your keep with a strong company. If you do not come down and parley with us, we will attack tomorrow morning. I advise you to cut the ruse, sally out of your gates, and come talk to us face to face. We have come under a flag of truce. We would like to negotiate terms. We would rather avoid a conflict if possible.
I'll be down in just a moment. Give me a minute. You see them rush down from the battlements, and then they kind of open the gates. The gates swing open. This is a double-decker gate. Osros and Corcus come out. Now, there's no need for bloodshed.
Can they see the forces behind us?
Yes, they can. There's no need for bloodshed. Looking out beyond you, you see a lot of goblins, centaurs, the lizard folk as well. I can see that you're accompanied by some of these.
Do you see perhaps the flag of Count Ulrich in the background there?
Yes, we do. We see it. We see it. We know.
This is the forces he had on hand. There's another column coming up the road from Felton. There's another column coming up the road from Felton that'll be here tomorrow morning. If you'd like, though, Count Ulrich has given us the authority to negotiate terms with you. We would like to avoid bloodshed if possible, and retrieve what is justly the property of the lizard folk.
And who am I speaking to?
I'm Scythar Virusine of, well, that doesn't matter. Right now, I'm in the service of the Count.
Scythar, I would be happy to parley with you. What are your terms?
Oh, before we begin, can I do something to make sure you're not lying? It's just like a counter. It's just
No.
to know that. Oh, come on.
Scythar looks at the kobold and is like, that's a great idea.
Fine. If it would mean
All right,
peace
and I will
between
cast
us.
Zone of Truth.
Okay, Zone of Truth is cast. They are in the Zone of Truth. Very well, you have cast your your spell, whatever sorcery it is. What are your terms?
Very well. And I'm under the effect of this too, correct?
Yes.
Very well. The terms that we've been instructed to offer are the following. You will return the supplies you took from the lizard folk encampment. You will release all of your captives into our custody, including the warrior known as Harm, as well as others. And you will pay from your pocket a sizable, but not too sizable, indemnity as a reparation for the harm you've caused. We can negotiate the specifics of that, I'm sure, but as in exchange, you'll be allowed to keep command of this fortress for the time being and maintain your weapons and equipment intact. We will then leave and return to Felton.
The Duke and Duchess of Orthendine have noble supremacy over Count Ulrich. What if they were to overrule your Count's orders?
I have no knowledge of such intelligences. If that were the case, then that is a matter for the Count and the Duke. That has nothing to do with us here.
We are expecting a representative from the Duke and Duchess of Orthendine in just a few days. It would be not in your interest, Scythar, to disturb us.
And how many troops does this representative have?
It's none of your concern. He kind of stammers.
Well, then I hope they're able to relieve the siege by the time they get here, then.
You drive a hard bargain. I want you to roll either a persuasion or intimidation.
Okie doke.
More or less likely, can I help?
How would you help?
You did cast Zone of Truth?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
you
has
can-
no truth.
Yep. So yeah, you can get advantage.
All right, I will roll for persuasion with advantage.
Osros speaks up and says, "Very well. We will return all that. We will return the supplies that we found, and we will return the prisoners." And you can tell that they're lying here when he said "found."
Right.
And after that, we shall.
Just want
We
actually
shall
want to
confer again. And so a minute later, Harm, you are kind of brought back and out from the cages and escorted to the gate. And along with a few other prisoners as well, along with a cart full of food, but no coin or anything else of that sort.
I'll wave Rax forward. I'll look back at Rax and wave him forward to inspect the goods and make sure it's all there.
Rax will take a look, and he will inspect the goods, and he will see that all of the goods are there.
Now for the matter of the indemnity you need to pay.
I just want to say something from Zone of Truth. When on a failed save, a creature can't speak a deliberate lie while in the radius. So that's the thing that I wanted to.
Okay, so
point out.
when he tried to lie about found, it just didn't come out. It was just blank. I'm going to say he automatically fails.
And he's a half elf, right?
Yes.
Now about that indemnity.
We're not going to pay it.
I see.
You guys can take your prisoner.
May I
take your food
May I ask
back.
why?
We have debts to pay, and we would die if we gave it to you. So we would rather be dead with the siege than be dead without the coin.
I know you're compelled to speak only the truth, so I believe you. However, that leaves us at an impasse. I would take, in the stead of the indemnity, control of this keep. You keep your silver. You pay your men. You pay your debts, which I'm sure I can see that I've been told and briefed that you have fewer men now than you did.
You have more
So
than enough.
You should save some coin in that respect. However, if you were to part with ways with the keep and put it in the hands of the troops of Count Ulrich here, that might be seen as a sufficient payment as an indemnity. You keep your liquid cash and you pay your debts and you leave the keep. With all of your weapons and equipment intact and all of your supplies, you leave unmolested. We will not harm you.
Osros and Corcus look at each other for a second, and they nod at each other. We'll need to confer and talk about that. But in the meantime, we'll escort these prisoners and these supplies out. And they don't wait for a response, they just head in. You see...
No, Omar, question. Are my hands bound?
Yeah, your hands are bound
Right.
with rope and... Yeah, with rope. You see a horse that draws out a cart that comes out with the supplies.
I'll point at Harm and look at Aglier, and Aglier will walk forward with a knife and try and cut the bonds for
Okay.
Harm's.
That's the
Right.
person we're supposed should be saving.
You cut him off.
A
Yeah.
quick description of Harm. It looks like he's in strange mix of adult and teenager features. He's like a little over 6 feet tall. His shoulders are absolutely bulging. His face looks a bit on the young side, and he has a scowl on his face. Have you got my
Kobold looks-
sword? He says to Osros and Corcus as they're leaving.
You see one of the archers tisk as they wanted to keep that sword as a nice little keepsake. And they throw your supplies down to the ground, hitting the snow, the powdery snow. Everything that you have is now returned to you.
I appreciate the hospitality, I call up, and then I say to the group, did Priscilla put you up for this? I'll have to give her a big kiss next time I see her.
More or less.
Yeah, more or less. I was here on my own volition, not really because of the coin. I just like helping.
We surrender the
Fine.
fortress, the archers say up above. A few minutes later, Corcus and Osros will be waiting for you inside. And they smile.
Very good. You can
I
assemble
do
your
an
troops
insight check?
outside.
And they'll come
I do
out.
an insight check.
Athias, do you like gesture for the other troops to come in, or do you? keep
Yeah, I'm
them
gonna. I would like everyone in conference with Athias.
out? Athias is gonna go over
Hey.
and say, "What do you want me to do?"
Oh,
The forts is.
can
Oh,
I-
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just asking, could I do an insight check to see if they're telling the truth or not?
They're telling the truth. Give me an insight check.
Yeah.
Let's see how they're telling it, the method by which, and you get inspiration.
That is not how you roll. I made big mistake. Skills, insight. There we go. No, I gave my. No, I'm not gonna use bardic inspiration now.
Okay.
That's an 18.
Well done. So you can tell they're telling the truth, but you can also tell that there is a hidden meaning in that. They clearly think they've tricked you. But you can tell that they're, it's kind of like one of those inside jokes.
It just like softly whispers to everyone else within who is in whisper range.
We are now in your care.
There's something shady. There is something shady going on here. Be ready for anything.
Scythar nods.
I'd say to Scythar, so we're going back in the keep. What's the plan?
Well, I wouldn't mind having a little chat with your former captors, but Scythar would look at Athias. The keep is yours to command if you would like
Okay.
to
And
garrison it.
Atheus and his soldiers will enter the keep, and they will begin taking a look around. You guys can also take a look around. Corcus and Osros are nowhere to be found.
I'm gonna say to one of the men that's passing me, "Where will you guys go?"
We'll look around the keep. We have done our duty. We have captured the raiders.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about Osros and Corcus's men.
Oh, we'll go into captivity until we are released.
Well, I mean, what the negotiations we made with Corcus and Osros suggest that you're free to go with your weapons and equipment.
Oh, okay, then we will.
Did they say something different?
No. That's what they said.
So you're just gonna leave
As
your
they
leader
said,
behind, huh?
Oh, yes, we're leaving them behind.
You
You'll
pay your
find them
double.
inside. You'll find them inside somewhere.
I'm gonna turn and say to Scythar, "I certainly would have left a guy like that. He paid him all double for the last job."
I don't trust him. Just walk slowly forward.
All right.
I don't trust him.
Well, if we are free to go, then we will leave. And at this point, Atheus is incredulous. He's looking at you guys. You're letting them go?
Those were the terms, were they not? We agreed in Felton.
Very well. Shoot. Okay. And the other people?
I suggest deploying some of your goblins to start taking over the battlements.
Yeah, you know that Priscilla told you that these guys stole, they killed, they raided the lizard folk village, they kidnapped an infant, they did all sorts of terrible things. The bloodbath, the fire, the pillage.
And Corin, they all left, right? Like there's none of them inside.
Yep. And you see a lot
Okay.
of castle forged weapons. You see, if you can go around the fortress as you wish, kind of walking around if you want. You see the two
Corin is
ballistas.
just
You see a lot of campfire supplies, a lot of stuff, food stores, bedding, wooden tables, crossbows, a full armory, lots of stuff that they left behind. But as you search through the fortress, you do not see Osros or Corcus. You do not see any gold.
Pity, I wanted to speak with them.
I think something's fishy.
I wanted to see.
Everyone be on your toes.
Arm follows Scythar, clad in just a sleeveless shirt and trousers and no jacket. He looks cold, but does not visibly shiver. "You look like you're the
Okay.
leader. I hate owing someone one, so I'll stand by your side till this whole thing's over."
Can I go to Atheus, was it?
Atheus, what is it?
Can I ride you?
No, you cannot. That is only
Oh, come on, I'm not that heavy.
available for distinguished family members, and only in times
I'm
of
not
war,
heavy.
and not for you and your little plaything. Now get in there and find
not that
Corcus and
heavy. Come
Osros.
This one's fine.
Sethar will nod in thanks to Harm and begin searching the castle. And also not only looking for Osros and Corcus, but looking around for Vex.
Vex is
Yeah,
okay.
I'm looking very suspicious. I'm looking around to see if I can get my own spoils.
Yeah, and the goblins are in there getting their spoils, and as you guys kind of looting the place, Atheus responds, "This fortress is to be, and all the loot inside of it is to be divided among the adventurers, among Count Ulrich's company, upon negotiation back at Felton. We are not doing this here. Is that understood, everyone?"
Oh yes, I would never take anything.
And he
That's
grimaces at
perfectly
you,
reasonable.
shakes his head.
We should do this in an
Like-
organized way for the benefit of all. I agree with you.
And the goblins kind of come in, and the centaurs come in. So they're kind of with you guys right now. I don't want to drag them all with you right now.
I advise getting some goblins to man those ballistae as soon as possible.
The ballistas are manned. The goblins.
Question. Is there like a room which is like a place where the leaders would mostly spend their time in, like a specific room
There you go.
that seems important?
But yes, there is a room in there, and it's right over here. You can see that it's long gone, but there's a kind of a polar bear fur. There is a nice double-decker bed, some books. Although some of the bookshelves are suspiciously empty. There is a wooden chair.
Should I investigate for any signs of Osros and the other one in that room recently?
Yeah, you can see that someone came in here recently. Give me an investigation check to find out what you see, what they did in that room.
I found it.
I'm gonna say to Scythar, "Looks like they took all their gold and left. A man's busted. they don't have any funds, so of course Osros took it all.
I think that's why we were able to take this fortress so bloodlessly.
You notice that there is a large imprint of dust around what appears to be a chest-like a little frame that's suspiciously missing inside of the room. You also see out the back of the window a rope tossed out where someone could climb down. You also see some footsteps leading off into the mountains.
Just gonna they ran off with a chest.
We
I
can follow
found
them if you want.
a locked room.
I mean, I don't know. Do we really want that chest?
I'd rather speak with the two of them. I find that they. Priscilla said there was a female high elf in this chamber.
Yes, looking around, you do not see the high elf in the fortress. Wherever you look, everywhere you look, you do not see her.
Hey, Scythar, is it? I think the cat said she found a locked door.
Whereabouts?
All the doors are unlocked now.
Okay. Can
I thought I
I
found something.
trace the footprints to see the direction which they went?
Yep, they lead into the mountains, and they kind of lead out of sight. But you can see at the edge of the area, there's this there's this very small kind of well that leads down, some stairs that lead down into like a wellish, like oasis. So you guys can follow them whenever you choose. If you want to take the initiative and follow them quickly, or you can, kind of look around the fortress first.
I'll go and meet with Rax just to make sure he is satisfied with the outcome.
Rax
I'm
meets
just
up
gonna
with you.
slowly.
Yes. I would much rather have killed them, seen them hung upon the end of a noose, maybe flogged, but I suppose this is fine.
I understand your need for revenge, Rax, but you have people to take care of now, and you have a village to prepare for winter,
Yeah, and
or
he kind
to
of
see through the winter.
he puts his hand on your shoulder. Thank you, Scythar. With this food, we fed for the winter, and and thank you, Harm. He kind of turns to you. I know you were taken prisoner. I don't know what happened while you were prisoner. Thank you, everyone. He turns to each of your adventurers and thanks you solemnly.
So
He takes his food.
What's going to happen to the bandits now that they are walking freely away from this keep right now? Are you going to send a team to catch them up?
We don't have the
Because-
strength. We don't have the
What
strength.
they're
to catch
talking, but I
those
just like
bandits.
slowly.
So they will most likely. They are bandits after all. They will
They're
most
just
likely
men.
return to their old ways, right?
I hope not.
Well, I hope you're prepared if that happens.
Yes, we will be prepared. We'll set up some defenses.
I'm gonna try and follow. I'm just gonna silently follow Vex around real quick until he notices me.
Well, they're talking, but I just like slowly follow. Not to get too far away,
Yes.
but like enough. Yeah, if they were to come, they could easily catch up with me.
Yeah, of course, you can do that. And yeah, Rax will say, yeah, we'll prepare some defenses. It's a good suggestion. We've already begun doing so, although it would help when we get back. We have taken basically all of our able-bodied soldiers with us, hunters. We'll need to get this food. And if you excuse me, I need to prepare the food and put it in the cart. Get it back to our village.
Austin, I'd like to do an investigation check on this room.
Yes, of course. What in particular in that room would you like to investigate?
I don't know. It just seems kind of sus.
Oh, okay, so you investigate that table?
Yeah, the table and also the counter over here.
Yeah, so you want to do investigation? Do you want to do religion? Do you want to do medicine? I mean, if you're taking a look at it, it's a bloody table. There are torture instruments on the table. In the corner there's a ball and chain. There is a few manacles. There is a skull with a little religious symbol painted on it. There is a cage. So it's pretty easy. I mean, you don't need to really investigate. The table is stone.
I'm gonna say to
History check.
Vex, I didn't see anyone get killed in this room, and they certainly didn't use it on me, but a company like that, they need to get information out of people somehow, you know.
That's rather grand. Maybe I will do a history check. Could I do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
11.
So history check.
So other things. Sorry, I was just trying to get out of fortress, but I seem to have lost the way.
What are you talking about? So, wait, what?
Did Corin relay that information about the chest to everybody else?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. But he is going out by himself without telling anyone.
Oh, okay. So Corin. Okay, so you go over to the go over to the well with the kind of oasis. You can see that it kind of like there's rain. There's like snow water that drips down, and there's some stairs that lead down into a cavern. And you can see it's very, very dark in there, very, very sinister. History check. You can tell that this is the traditional torture methods used in Rivendell, which is a different part of Torrent. There's the southern and eastern side, which is controlled by Orthandyne, and then there's the western part that's controlled by Rivendell, and this is the torturing method that they use over there. They string people up, they kind of cut off their skin. I'm not going to go into the details, but it's pretty gruesome.
Austin, are there big cultural differences between Western and Eastern Torrent?
Yes, they'd like to think there are, but there isn't really.
Okay. I'll walk up to Vex and say, "What are you doing?"
Oh, I didn't notice you following me. Why were you doing that?
You looked curious about this place. I wondered if you were looking for some extra loot.
I resent that implication. I'm just having a look around. I'm quite curious, you see.
Inside
It's in my nature.
inside of the skull with a strange symbol, religious symbol on top of it, there are what appears to be decapitated fingers inside. Variety of races, variety of sizes. I'd say there are a total of 13 in total.
Let's pray best of the people.
You didn't hear us approaching, huh? And what are those ears for?
Well, there may be an opportunity I wanted to make you aware of.
An opportunity?
The kobolds has found the trail of our erstwhile hosts, Osros and this Corcus fellow.
So, question: how do I reach the well by my token? I do not know the way. I am lost.
But I think things are well in hand here. The Count is happy, Rex is happy. Only thing that is left to do is to perhaps secure additional loot by going after these two.
Well, that is quite intriguing. You do seem to know me well.
Care to join us?
I do. I would love to.
And then you kind of gesture for Atheus, and you can see him walking around, and I'll bring him over. What is it?
I do suggest that you and your men catch up to those bandits and take care of them, because when they return to a safe position, they will just return to their old way of murdering, being a menace to the land, being a problem. I do not think that this experience was good enough for them to become saints. So I really think that they need to be taken care of before it is too late.
So you lied. You gave him terms.
I haven't done nothing. I've spoken nothing.
Yeah, I've spoken nothing as well. And I wouldn't mind
I
ambushing
have
and
spoken
killing
something.
them. It would reflect poorly upon Saidar. He kind of looks at you. But it would be
Indeed.
it'd be a great tactical advantage. We'll just catch him on the road, kill him.
It's well, I could justify it easily enough. They haven't kept their end of the bargain. We have to, but then again, I feel that our time would be better spent going after the heads of this organization rather than the riffraff. Those are the true. The organizers are the true threat, not the people that they're palms.
We can go after the two leaders ourselves. We don't need this small army.
Yeah, we already had a goblin ambush here tracking them. We weren't gonna let them go. But,
Yeah, you
it's
did
well-
say that you're gonna let him go. I'm not one who cares to say much about what's right and wrong, but doesn't it seem a little messed up to kill him after you said you'd let him go?
The next time they
It is
make
a-
camp, we were gonna strike them and kill them all. Make them
It's a stain on my honor.
I think what's messed up here is the fact that they tortured a bunch of people and there's finger remains and all that kind of stuff. I think that's messed up.
You'd
I'll
be
look at
Killing them
surprised.
while they're on
Almost
the
everyone
road
does
is
that.
not messed up.
I'll look at Atheus, and I'll look at him and I say, "Is it true that you intended to kill them anyways?"
We were gonna track them until they next camped, and then we were gonna greet them and convince them to go back into captivity.
I'll look at
Okay.
Atheus,
But then
and I'll say,
we would defend
Convince them
ourselves
to
if
go
we
to the
attacked.
astral plane.
I'll look at Atheus, and I'll say, Atheus, I'll remember you.
Oh, I remember you too.
Yeah, we'll meet again sometime.
Yeah, and he's gonna continue surveying the fortress with the other people, getting ready to go.
Atheus, who was afraid of the ballista.
Do you guys want to follow Orsos and Corcus? That's an option.
I do.
Yeah.
All right.